Good morning, folks. 5:30 in the morning on August 5th, day 125. Just leaving Treasure State Hostel in Bozeman after 3 zeros. Thank you very much. Not sure if any of this video is going to come out. It's definitely kind of dark, but breaking out at 5:30 because I have about 1 3/4 mile to make it over to the Walmart in time for a 6 a.m. bus, which, if I miss it, there's a 6:30 bus as well. Either one of those buses gonna get me down to Big Sky, or I can keep hiking from there. I did get some bagel and clementine and coffee and banana back here at Treasure State, but if I get an opportunity to eat a second breakfast in Big Sky, I may just take advantage of that as well. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get over to this Walmart and I'll check in with you guys. All right guys, 7:16 in the morning. Thermometer says 62 degrees, but I did just get off the bus, man. Check out that cool hill. There's actually another one up on the left there. You can see barely behind those low clouds. Really a pretty cool morning here. It's a nice little ride in the bus, man. I'll tell you, dude. I don't know if there's just a lot of potholes or if the driver was trying or if the bus has no suspension or what, but like I was trying to close my eyes a little bit on that bus and it was rough. It was rough, quite literally rough. But we made it. Just about 7:15, as I said. Man, so much on those 3 days. Let's see, I even made a list. Said I wouldn't be wasting your time recounting some of this stuff. All right, so first off, I had a package waiting for me back there for my sister, which included my clippers. So I gave myself a haircut, a beard trim. That's pretty great. Always nice to feel clean. Love that, love that, love that. I did download more Gaia maps. Theoretically, you're able on Gaia to download maps and then they'll work when you're in the backcountry without service. My experience is not great with that, but I spent literally all day on the Wi-Fi yesterday. Literally all day. I mean, I think it took 12 hours or something to download those maps. I mean, I went to sleep and they still weren't done, and they were done this morning. So I started them yesterday morning, so more than 12 hours really. But theoretically, I have maps all the way through to Canada at this point, which is great. Let's see. I did also receive my new trekking poles, so those are what's sticking up here behind me. Some new trekking poles. I wasn't able to pull off the tips from the new ones to put on the tips from the old ones, but I was able to switch out the straps. So the new trekking poles have new tips, and the new trekking poles have my old straps from my old poles. My old poles and old tips and new straps, I mailed all that home, as well as the clippers once I was done with them, which was actually pretty cool. I went by the post office, packaged everything up and got it in the mail, paid for it, gave it to the lady, and she was super nice, just took it. And then like 40 minutes later, after I got back to the hostel, which is only 2 blocks away from the post office, but I got back to the hostel and then about 20 or 30 minutes later realized that I hadn't included the tips and baskets. So I ran back over to the post office. It had only been about 40 minutes, and she was kind enough to let me take my package back and throw in the tips and stuff, and then retape it and keep it moving without having to buy new postage for a new package, which was really cool. Let's see. So speaking of Gaia, I also plotted out mostly, I think, how I'm gonna get to Butte, which is gonna be my next stop. I don't really know exactly how I'm gonna get there, but I've referenced some hikes that people have done in past years. I was able to get their tracks or recordings or whatever and kind of compare what I want to do with what they did. Hopefully it'll be great. There may be some stealth camping involved, like camping without permission, stuff like that. I hope not, but it's hard. Hopefully I'll be able to avoid that. We'll kind of see how we go. And speaking of Butte, hopefully in Butte will be waiting for me a new pack from Z-Pack. So I shouldn't say a new pack, but a loaner pack. So they're gonna mail me a loaner pack so that I can mail them my pack so that they can fix whatever's going on with this bottom strut and the rip in the fabric and all that, and hopefully I can have a working pack eventually. I don't know how long that work's gonna take or whatever, but hopefully in another 4 or 5 days or whatever I can be to Butte and I can have a loaner pack and I can get my pack in the mail to them, and then maybe in Helena or whatever comes next I can have my pack back and it'll be fixed up, which would be great. I also emailed Canadian Border Service to check on, I guess the most traditional border crossing point for CDT northbound terminus is closed and has been for a couple years on account of the pandemic and everything. But there was like a contact email on the website with the announcement, and they were like, have any questions, email us. I was like, all right, screw it, I'll email them. So I emailed them. I don't know if I'll hear back or not. That's almost it. Let's see, met a bunch of cool people at the hostel. I met one dude from Washington who was biking from Jasper. He was on like a, sort of like a mini section of the Great Divide bike path. He flew out yesterday morning, but it was cool to meet him and hang out with him some. I forget his name, it begins with a D, I'm sorry, dude. But good dude. And then last night, man, they also kicked up in whatever town I was just in and leaving now, Bozeman. I guess it's like their annual Sweet Pea Festival, which I don't really know exactly what that means, but they had like live music down on the main street and closed off the street and let people walk around with open containers and stuff like that. All that was totally lost on me because I knew I had to be up at 4:30 in the morning, so I went to one of the restaurants and just cashed in on their happy hour grub, and was laying in bed by 7 by the time the music started, so it didn't really matter to me. But I'm a little bummed that I missed it, but that's 3 zeros, man. Like, can't really complain. And I thought there was one other thing. Oh, the one other thing. Check it out, that rip in my knee. So I got my Yellowstone patch covering up that knee hole now, so that's pretty good. Boy, what a lot. And then of course just a lot of resting, a lot of eating and stuff like that in Bozeman, which is actually a really cool town, and a town I prefer very much to Jackson. Hopefully this will be the last time I disparage Jackson, but yeah, Bozeman just felt like more like a town instead of like a money grab tourist hole. So yeah, I mean, I would consider coming back to Bozeman. But what's happening now is just left that Conoco gas station where I was picked up 3 or 4 or whatever days ago, 5 days ago, I don't know, whatever. And now I'm walking along this pristine little bike path, jogging path towards Big Sky Village or whatever, where like the resort and all the fancy ski stuff is. And I think there's a breakfast place down here, some kind of like coffee shop, breakfast sandwich place or something. Probably pop in there and get another cup of coffee, maybe another snack, and then keep hiking. So yeah, that's it. I will cut this off, and I'll check in with you guys one more time after breakfast. All right, 8:37, 59.4 degrees, just walking. I don't really know what, through this little like golf course country club community here in Big Sky, which might be all of Big Sky, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, kind of bobbing and weaving along roads and sidewalks and stuff to get back to a trail. One thing I didn't mention that I also took care of in Bozeman, new pair of skippies, man. Got the fresh skippies on, brand new shoes. So that's another thing that my sister mailed out to me. And I should say, I reread that email from Topo that I mentioned, whatever, a week ago or more, I don't know. And the one where I kind of said forlornly that I felt like I was being dumped. They did also in that email offer a promo code for 50% off up to 3 pairs of shoes. So that was nice. They still kind of took care of me there for sure. I think what my move is going to be though is that they've switched from the Trail Venture Originals to like a Trail Venture 2.0, which is I think like 2 ounces per shoe heavier, a little more padding, a little bit beefier looking. So I think what my move is going to be, probably after this hike, explore a few other models of the topos and see if any of those work for me. And then, you know, and by explore a few other models, what I mean is buy them from REI, hike them 100 miles or whatever, see how they feel, and if I like them, great, keep them, and if I don't, just return them and try another model. But then I'll wind up using that promo code from Topo to purchase 3 pairs. So basically, I'd be getting, instead of getting the faulty pair being replaced with a brand new pair, I'd essentially be getting the faulty pair replaced with a pair and a half, on account of it being a 50% discount on up to 3 pairs of shoes. But whatever, this is all an issue for another day. Right now, I'm gonna just try and not catch too many evil looks from folks. So far, everyone's been great, but left breakfast. I'm gonna actually hike now, and I'll talk to you guys after I actually hike a little bit. All right, good afternoon, folks. It is 12:10 p.m., just past noon, and a very, very, very comfortable 64.4 degrees here with overcast skies. I heard before I got out of town that it might rain today. In fact, it might rain all these days, these jumps. We just kind of got to see how it goes. But what a spectacular spot I've made it to here. So this whole green area down here is known as Bear Basin, and these really sort of Cirque-esque stony cliffs, those are all known as the Spanish Peaks. So there we go. And then kind of behind the camera, so I'll turn around and show you. Well, it's pretty much just a cliff wall now that you can see, but behind that cliff wall is Gallatin Peak, which is the highest peak in the second highest range in a state named for its mountains. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. What I think I'm gonna do, I haven't really decided. In fact, before I tell you the plan, let me go ahead and just dedicate this incredible two-part view over here. So this is where I've come from down at Bear Basin, and I had three very generous folks donate to the hike recently. So Julie, Jim, and Jill. I guess it was the J team. I don't know if y'all coordinated that somehow, but yeah. And Jill, of course, my old friend from the Hostel of Maine last year on the Appalachian Trail. She saw me at, I hate to admit it, one of my darker moments when I had just freshly broken my hand and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to keep going. Well, anyways, Julie, Jim, and Jill, of course. Thank you guys. Thank you all so much for the donations. And then, of course, off this way as well, sort of a two-part view, as I mentioned. So this whole range right here is one you won't get on, I imagine, a whole ton of other CDT thru-hiking vlogs. This is the Spanish Peaks, so kind of a unique dedication for you all this time. Yeah, well, so the plan, thank you again, thank you. The plan moving forward, I think from here, there is a more direct path than the one I think I'm going to take to get to where I'm going, which is ultimately Butte. It's the path which plenty of other hikers who have taken this alternate have taken. But there's a really cool looking trail, according to the topographic map, called Indian Ridge. And it's actually a trail this time, so I'm hoping I don't get strung up. Indian Ridge looks like it just kind of runs the ridge. And I'm hoping also that from Indian Ridge, because it's going to wrap around sort of to the northeast, I kind of came in next to Gallatin Peak on like a northwesterly direction, and then I'm going to shoot off in a northeasterly direction and hopefully get some views of Gallatin Peak, because that would be pretty cool. Part of me thinks it'd be cool to go up Gallatin Peak and kind of bag that peak, but part of me is also very thankful that there are no apparent trails that go up Gallatin Peak, so there's my fig leaf. I can just kind of blame that, make that the reason. I'm kind of blabbering away right now because I kind of also feel like this is going to be my afternoon check-in. I don't think I'm going to have lunch today. Usually I do those afternoon check-ins, of course, after lunch. But man, I had that bagel with probably like, I don't know what, 3/4 cup of cream cheese on it and butter and everything. 2 bananas, 2 clementines, and then when I got to that, whatever, like golf club or whatever, country club in Big Sky, I got another bacon, egg and cheese English muffin, and that was really good. And the guys were really excited about my hike, so they threw on like double bacon, double eggs at no extra charge, which was actually really sweet of them. They were like, "Do you want extra?" And I was like, "Ha, bud, I walked here from Mexico. Yeah, definitely I want extra. Thank you so much." So that was that. But anyways, hike's going well so far. I'm kind of hoping this weather holds off, man. It's definitely been humid today. I definitely sensed that it rained here yesterday or last night or something. I don't know, it might have rained back in Bozeman too. Honestly, I was downstairs in the dungeon of the hostel by the time 7 o'clock rolled around, for sure. Honestly, by the time 6 o'clock rolled around. But yeah, I'm hoping this weather holds off, because lightening up on something called Ridge, a trail called Ridge, would probably not be very much fun, but I think we're gonna kind of go for it and see how it goes. Man, it's pretty here. It's pretty here. Definitely very much Wind River Range-esque. Not quite Wind River Range, but if I have to compare it to anything, that's the comparison. Man, fantastic here. All right, well, I'll stop blabbering. I'll keep hiking. I'll talk to you guys later. Guys, it is 2:38, 61.8 degrees, and I've made it very close to Beacon Point, Beacon Peak, which is technically right over there, but I'm not going to go over there. That's not where my trail goes, even though it's whatever, a quarter mile, maybe probably less. just wanted to stop and point out that this tall guy out here, that's Gallatin Peak at 11,015 feet above the planet Earth's oceans. Right now I'm about 10,250 or so over here, and then Beacon Point again is just going to be a little bit higher than me. But man, oh man, oh man, oh man, check out this view, dude. I don't know what they're seeing on the Montana-Idaho border. I was texting Midnight, she said it's pretty good down there and nice and pretty, but this is really a view, man. This is really a view. And let me tell you, I feel in no way cheated with this view. I'm just gonna mosey over kind of up to the side I came up and point out that the side I'm going down, if you can see this big long ridge. So we're gonna drop down and then follow this ridge, and that is Indian Ridge. And you can probably tell there's definitely some clouds happening. I'm just gonna keep on hoping that they just kind of like stay clouds, but we'll see. I'm excited about Indian Peak, man. That looks, or excuse me, Indian Ridge. That looks absolutely fantastically fun. So hopefully there's no lightning, but otherwise I'll be enjoying it. So long, Gallatin. Alright, good evening folks. It is 6:50, 10 till 7 that is, and 67.1 degrees. I've made it to the Little Hell Roaring trailhead. Pretty exciting name, actually. So I think Little Hell Roaring refers to a creek, if I'm not mistaken, a creek or a waterway of some sort. And I guess there's little and upper and big, I guess, I don't really know. I'm not really super involved with that trail specifically, that trail or waterway, to the best of my knowledge, at least not so far. But this is going to be home for the night because, well, you probably can't see behind me, but there's a pit privy, and I'm a sucker for a pit privy, man. Love pit privy. So much better than digging holes. And then there's also a water pump, which is kind of a nifty bonus. Kind of take it or leave it. Doesn't really, not nearly as nifty as a pit privy, but cool, I guess, nonetheless. And then there's also picnic tables and like sort of established campsites, I guess. There's not, strangely, there's all sorts of signs and stuff about bear, you know, because we're in a forest, national forest land, but there's no like infrastructure for anyone to do the responsible thing with their food as pertains to bear. So I guess they're kind of just assuming people will drive in and keep it in their car, although even that I've heard is not really a super viable solution to keep bear away from your food. Whatever, either way, I mean, I got the Ursack, I got the OpSacks, so I went ahead and just hung my food back over by the pit privy, conveniently over by the pit privy, so that in the morning I can kill two birds with one stone, as it were. Anyways, here's my tent, all pitched up, ready to go, and my lovely picnic table over here. This is where I'll be having some morning coffee. Yeah, I've been kind of back and forth about whether I wanted to push a little further today, because I got here like at 6, and that's like an hour earlier than I'd usually like to quit. But a couple things. For one, I feel like 26.7 miles is pretty good for a day out of town. That's really not too bad. And then number two, there's just a big climb out of here, like a 1 mile climb. I don't think it's super treacherous, but it's a climb nonetheless. And I guess 2.5 or 3 maybe is that the next spot that looks topographically promising with respect to campsite availability is about 4 miles away. So that means I'll be getting there after 7. And really, because it looks topographically promising, doesn't necessarily tell the whole tale. It could just be replete with dead trees. It could be soft or rocky. I mean, like muddy or rocky or whatever. And frankly, I double checked the forecast and it looked like there might be overnight rain as well tonight. So I'd kind of rather be in a spot that's just going to be a little bit easier in case everything's wet in the morning or raining still in the morning or wet overnight or whatever. And so I just kind of decided to pitch up. I'm going to try really hard to wake up early tomorrow though and get this thing moving, because I'm calling it like 130 miles, trail miles from where I woke up, or from where I started this morning to Butte, but honestly I'm not super sure. So I'm kind of hoping for 4 days, like 4.5 days, but I don't know. I want to show you guys one thing I do with my tent. So I've only done this a couple times on this trail because I haven't really had many nights where they're forecasting rain. But obviously, so you can see on the other side, usually on this trail I've just left all the vestibule flaps open like they are over here. But you can also pin these down, kind of close it up in case of inclement weather. But one cool thing you can do, they kind of two flaps will kind of pin into this little, like bullhorn looking hook, and then you can tighten it down to keep it nice and taut. And then there's a toggle up here where you can pin the two sort of flaps together to kind of seal it up and keep it shut. Well, if you're not expecting like super duper stormy weather, but you're thinking there might be rain, one cool hack is to get a little binder clip or a clothespin or whatever. So pin down your one vestibule flap, hook the two together with the toggle, and then rather than pinning this left flap all the way down, you can just kind of roll it up on itself and then use a binder clip, and that way you're still getting some sort of airflow. And honestly, if it's not a storm, I mean, I did this plenty last year on the AT and it worked great. I mean, even in decent rain, I mean, so long as there wasn't heavy wind and super heavy rain, that would be fine. So anyways, I haven't really shown that yet so far on this hike, but there you have it. I mean, a neat little hack if you have a duplex and you might be expecting rain overnight. I'll go ahead and do that with the other side as well once I'm in there. But yeah, let's see, just a couple other quick things I wanted to mention about a couple things. So while I was in wherever I just was, Bozeman, my sister sent me those shoes and a couple other things. I guess while I was with my parents in Jackson, they heard me kind of bemoaning the fact that my Sawyer filter has been slowing. I mean, it's just what they do. They wind up, I mean, I back flush it after almost every use, which is more than anyone else really does. Actually, Midnight put me hip to that. Midnight Chocolate, she does that with her filter, which isn't a Sawyer, but that's fine. And anyways, but it just started slowing down and like not running as great or filtering as quickly. So I guess they wound up buying a Sawyer filter and giving it to my sister. So thanks, Mom and Dad. I got a new Sawyer filter, and it runs, boy, it filters water so fast. It's so lovely. One other final thing I'll mention, which is just kind of like a cool trail anecdote that I had today. I mean, sad. It definitely hit me right in the feels, but kind of a cool thing that happens on trail from time to time. So after I came through that pass after Bear Basin, there was this cool lake called Summit Lake. This is right before I split onto whatever Indian Ridge Trail, and there was a dude camped up, you know, like a big jumbo, not a backpacker tent, a big jumbo Coleman tent, you know, and he was out there with his dog, just kind of sitting by the lake, and he's a little bit older. I don't know what I'd guess, maybe mid to late 60s probably, and he was pitched up right next to the lake, which made me a little grumpy because you shouldn't pitch that close to water. It's not good for wildlife and stuff like that. But whatever. I'm just a leave no trace junkie or something. I don't know. But you know, I'm not gonna. It's not really my place to yell at someone for that. So anyway, so I kept walking and then said hello to him, and we kind of had a quick little conversation. And I wanted to ask him some more about some of the trails around. So I asked him. I was like, "Oh, are you from the area? Do you know these trails?" And his response was a little strange. It pretty much ignored my question. And he basically said, you know, up until my mom was 85, every year for her birthday, she would get me and my siblings together, and we would come hike up here, and this was her favorite place to camp. And he's an old guy. I mean, he was an older guy, so I'm sure that his mom is gone now. But man, it just I was like, man, like this is a place you come to think about your mom. And he's like, yeah. And he was just out there with his dog and solitude and peace, and it was just a really cool, sad boy, I'll tell you, because again, on trail, like I just get emotional, but cool. And he just came right out with it. It was nuts. Yeah, man, you never know what people are going through. So, you know, if you see a tent pitched up inappropriately close to water or anything else, resist the urge to yell at folks, man. You never know what someone's dealing with, or what they're out here for or whatever. I mean, yeah, so that's it. It was just kind of a really cool, weird sort of thing. Like there would never be a time in the other world, in the working world, 9-to-5 world, or whatever else you want to call it, the modern world, where you would meet a total stranger and they would just come out with something like that. But that sort of thing happens sometimes out here, and it's, it just kind of gets you, man. It just kind of gets you. So, anyways, that's all I got for today. I think it was a good first day back on trail. Tomorrow I'm gonna try and bust out some more miles. We'll kind of see how we fare, but at least I'll have a nice picnic table to have coffee at. That's gonna be great. That's it. Thanks so much again to the 3 folks who donated to the hike. If you guys are interested to donate, obviously all those links are always down below in the descriptions for all these videos. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm going to turn in, start processing, and I'll check in with you all tomorrow.